waited all winter for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Kyle Larson type of weekend, because he was the big winner down in Las Vegas. Viva la Kyle, absolutely dominating. But first, make sure you follow us on Twitch. We're live right now at twitch.tv Bumper Run Podcast, live every Monday night, or as we do the show, make sure you follow us on Twitter, because I just alerted everyone that we are live. And make sure you listen Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more every Monday night, and YouTube either Monday night or Tuesday morning. Fellas, how was your weekend? We had a big old weekend of racing. How are you guys doing?
Oh, and Eric scratched it on the pavement.
Scratching on the pavement. Oh, your hat? Yeah, it was a little
That was a total inside joke for exactly 3 people in the entire world. Sorry to kick the show off like that.
That was a topic off topic before we hit play. But yeah, how are you guys doing? I don't know. Things off the rail on a Monday.
I had a hell of a weekend. Got absolutely tanked on Friday after work. Put in a little shift at the local pub. So Saturday I was pretty much useless on Saturday. Yeah. So it was a good day to be useless, though. It was kind of weather, rainy, cloudy. Wasn't that great of a day, so didn't feel too bad. Made up for it on Sunday, though. Did a lot of cleaning around the house, got the basement cleaned up, Christmas stuff put away, shelves built, and had a day on Sunday to make up for the down day on Saturday. But I only watched the Cup race. I didn't get to see any of the other racing this weekend, and I heard there were some pretty good races. So I'm kind of disappointed that I was kind of a hungover piece of trash on Saturday and didn't watch much racing other than the Cup on Sunday. So curious to hear your guys' views if you watched it at all.
Well, I missed the Xfinity race, but I did see the truck race. How about you, Matt? Did you see all 3 races of the weekend?
No, I saw bits and pieces of the truck race, bits and pieces of the Xfinity Series race. We had a birthday party, family birthday party on Saturday afternoon. So, we were entrenched with that for a lot of the afternoon. And then in-laws came over on Saturday night for some dinner. So I was in and out of the race, kind of checking in on it when I could, but wasn't paying too much attention. And for the confused people on that are listening to us that are like, what the hell was he talking about? Scratched on the surface. 3 seconds before we started recording, Eric looks at my camera and he goes, "Hey, Matt, the hat. Did you buy it like that, or did you scratch it on the concrete?" And then the intro started. So he threw a dead fish on my lap as the show started. So that's what happened there.
The dead fish. I never heard a dead fish thrown on the lap before. Is that another one you're trying out?
It's something I'm workshopping.
I like it. I like it.
I'm workshopping a lot of different things now.
What was the one you were workshopping in our chat last night during the race?
I don't even know if it's appropriate. Yeah, I don't remember.
Probably not. I didn't get. I saw the truck race on Friday night. It was actually pretty good. Real clean. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Saturday, I did not see the Xfinity race. I drove down to Philadelphia with my girlfriend for the Philly Flower Show, which was like a lot cooler than you would think for a flower show. It was really fucking cool.
Dude, my mother has gone to that, and I'll tell you what, the pictures and shit that I've seen from her and her going down there,
yeah,
it's like a must go. Like it's for anybody. Like it is that insane of like a, I don't know, like an art display.
That's
like
what
it's insane. The stuff that they do with the flowers and like Oh, Whitey. I'm actually jealous about that because of the stories I heard from my mother going down.
Well, it's going on all this week and next weekend too. I highly suggest it. It was my girlfriend's idea. She loves flowers and stuff. We always try to plant flower beds in front of the house and everything. But yeah, you walk in and it's these giant, like, I mean, larger than life displays and like really cool art pieces. There was a couple like real neat, like geometric shape things where it's drawing water out of a pond and stuff. It was real cool stuff. Highly suggest it. And we got some decent cheesesteaks down in Philly. Got a good Nashville hot chicken sandwich too. So just an all around good Saturday. The belly was in rough shape on the car ride home though, because
those Nashville hot chicken sandwiches, like, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get a call one day and someone's gonna be like, "Hey man, I've got really bad news. Like, Whitey died." And I'm like, "What happened?" And they're gonna be like, and it's gonna have something to do with the Nashville hot chicken sandwich, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense." Those things are your Achilles, brother. Those things are gonna take you down one day.
Oh, they're so good though. They're so good. Matt's also referring to an inside joke. So if you ever see a NASCAR race in Delaware or Pocono, you'll see the Weis, WEIS grocery store logo as a sponsor. And Weis makes a $3 hot chicken sandwich that is fantastic. I mean, the best $3 you could spend on any meal.
Whitey will send us a snap on lunch that he's eating this $3 Nashville hot chicken sandwich from the grocery store, and then like 5 hours later he's telling us like, "Oh, I have an upset stomach. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's happening to me."
He's on WebMD sending us all these links, asking us like, should I call my doctor or my mother? Like, I think I'm dying.
I think I got colon cancer. I can't stop going to the bathroom.
No, brother, you're eating spicy breaded chicken, man.
Well, you want to know what the taste buds in the mouth and the rest of the body, they just, they just don't agree. But
Whitey likes coming back to work after a lunch break just covered in sweat.
Just sweating. Like, oh, what happened to your fucking hot chicken sandwich?
Always just pushing the limit.
Hey, isn't that what it's all about? Just finding that razor thin line. That's what NASCAR's about, baby. So
that's right.
Let's get into some NASCAR news because there were some race teams pushing that fine line and they got busted. Of course, last week we talked about Joey Logano's webbed glove. That got himself a $10,000 fine, which I think is appropriate. A nice monetary fine for a safety issue and a competitive advantage. And then the 10 and the 41 cars for SHR were docked 35 points each for having illegal roof air deflectors. I don't know if we mentioned that last week. I might have missed it in the news last week. But that one isn't a single source provider part. That's made by the teams. I guess it just wasn't up to spec. And Noah Gragson finished in the top 10 this week, kind of erased that 35-point deficit, and he's looking okay. Ryan Preece, on the other hand, not good. What do you guys think about just the penalties? Any thoughts on that?
I think 10 grand is like nothing for Joey. Make it 50 or something, or leave it 10 grand, but Joey has to post on socials him burning the pole flag that he got. Cause it, like, you know what I mean? Like something a little, to him, like that's like, okay, I'm just going to try something again. If you're just going to penalize me 10 grand, I'll web my glove next week to get the pole. Like, you know what I mean? It just, to me, not enough of a deterrent for someone to keep going in that gray area. If they don't want that to go down, then we talked about this 2 years ago with this new car, L1, L2, L3. They don't want all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Yes, this wasn't a car part per se that where you'll bring the hammer down if you like modify that. But this is still an advantage in my eyes. This is just as much as modifying a car part, in my opinion. Yeah. It's just as big an advantage as modifying something like that. So to me, I thought it should have been a little bit more than just a $10,000 fine.
I think because it was just qualifying, he didn't race with it or anything, and he did suffer. I mean, it didn't matter at Atlanta because of that big wreck on lap 2, but he was supposed to serve a penalty and everything. Yeah, so I mean,
Joey Logano, he steps in shit and pulls out $100 bill every fucking time.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what's their like? Penalties are supposed to deter you from doing something.
Yeah. No.
And I mean, do you think that a $10,000 fine is going to deter anybody from fucking? You mean to tell me Roger Penske can be like, hey, Joey, I don't care what we do. Hey, crew chief, just I'll get that. That's like pocket change for some of these guys.
No,
you know?
I don't think that's a deterrent, but I think, you know, going lap down and everything was a deterrent. I mean, that's the thing. It wasn't raced, you know. And then he followed
I
it
get
up,
that it wasn't raced.
you know,
I could see that, but like.
And then he followed it up with a poll
it's
anyways this week. So it's like, did it really add that much of a competition advantage either, you know? I think
it does, because or else you wouldn't do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, guys have been putting their hand up forever. I don't know if the webbing really made a difference.
I mean, dude, think about Ryan Newman's mitts out the window. That's got to be like the same advantage of a webbed glove.
Absolutely. That'll cover the whole entire window net practically, you know, all the little holes in it. So I don't know. I understand your point. I think it could have been like a $50,000 fine.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be anything crazy like 200, like anything. Yeah. Just, I don't know. To me, 10 is too small.
Like nothing.
50 seems like something where it's like, oh shit, like 50 grand? Oh, okay. Maybe, you know, I'll second guess someone giving me a glove next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, whether I put that on or not.
Also, like, man, thinking how, like, I wonder how long they used it, if they used it last year too. But just thinking, like, if they
I would assume that all the internet sleuths would have found it by now. Found it and would have went all over the internet. Did you look?
No, I am also biased in this because it's Joey Logano. So,
of course.
I don't know, like take what I'm saying with a grain of salt because it's just him. Maybe if it was somebody else, I'd probably be like, okay.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna say, like, how quickly it got discovered feels like a deterrent in and of itself too, where it's like, okay, they got cameras all over the car. We're not pulling a fast one like we thought we would. You know what I mean? Although I do think it's kind of wild to think about where we're saying like, oh yeah, $10,000, that's nothing. That's like pocket change for him. Where like $10,000, imagine if someone's like, yo, here's 10 grand. Like how fucking, like that just made your month, maybe even your year. You're like, holy shit. All right. You know, so like
$1,000 is a lot of money to normal folk.
Yeah. But you want to know what? That's a set of race tires and a go-kart for his kid too. So I don't know. Who knows? I bet you Joey Logano has such a tight wallet. It's insane. I bet you that $10,000 killed him. In fact, I hope it did. Anyway,
you know what? Why are you right about that? I didn't take that into consideration. After what you just said, I think I have to agree with you.
You know what I mean? And then I'm wearing a Dale Jr. t-shirt today for a reason, because we got big news. Now, it hasn't been confirmed by Dale Jr. yet, which I think is interesting on the Twitter front. But it was The Athletic broke the story that Dale Jr. will not return to the NBC booth this year. He will be heading to Amazon and TNT, of course, the new partners for the 2025 TV deal. What do you guys think about Dale Jr. moving out of the booth, one this season and into the booth for them next season? Because I think that it's two stories kind of here, you know?
It's bittersweet because, you know, it's, first of all, I love Dale, right? So the fact that we're just not going to have him in a booth, the energy that he brings, it sucks that we're not going to have him there this year. But also, like, that NBC, if there was any broadcast crew that could survive Dale Jr. leaving, it's that NBC crew.
Yeah.
Because they're so good. I mean, there were a couple races where Jr. missed, you know, in his tenure with NBC, and that NBC crew didn't really miss a beat. So, like, it sucks from a Junior fan standpoint that I am, that I'm not gonna be able to listen to him. But I mean, he has his podcast, that comes out 3 episodes a week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we're still gonna hear his voice. He's still gonna have that influential tone on NASCAR. So that's the bitter side of it. The sweet part of it is, I'm really excited to what he brings to the new TV partnership with an Amazon and a TNT. Who are they going to pair him with, and what is that going to look like next year as well? So both, you know, good and bad that came from that news.
So now I'm kind of curious with this year. He's obviously not going to be in there. Where, okay, I kind of like it because now that he's not under contract, we already saw it on his socials where he's willing to say things that he couldn't say before because he was under contract. So I think this year, I think it's going to be a close year as far as talent and competition in the sport. I think we're going to get real takes from Dale Jr. this year. I think he's going to really tell us how he feels about certain things because he's going to that booth. He is saying all of this stuff so that next year, Amazon has everything that Junior is bitching about. He's going to have receipts all this year of everything that he said he likes to do in the booth, what he does in the booth, and what the fans' response is to what is going on right now. If Amazon isn't paying attention to all of this, then they're idiots, they're dumb, and they're going to fail. But I think Junior, in a way, is saying this stuff to set up the best possible situation when he does step into the booth next year.
I hope so. I really do hope that he has a big part in sculpting what we see for NBC or Amazon and TNT, because and you know what? I have to give props to Fox so far this season. I feel like they're taking it much more serious than they have. The camera angles are still terrible. They're still zoomed in way too much.
They had a rough day yesterday, but like as far as like taking it seriously, to your point, I agree. I've noticed that too. The production is still terrible.
Yeah. And that's just the directors. Like I saw people complaining about the camera, like the cameramen themselves. Like they're just following the action, doing what they're told from the production booth. You know,
bro, we had a restart yesterday. They didn't even make it into the first turn, and it went to commercial.
That's production booth.
That's unacceptable, dude. That's like the NFL equivalent of.
And then they came back and went back to commercial,
back, throwing a bullet down the field, and it going to commercial. Like you can't miss the most exciting part of the freaking race.
That's a new guy in the booth working a switcher that he never worked before, and he accidentally went to commercial like twice. Like, yeah, unacceptable, but like at the same time, it is still early in the season, so you have to like.
I don't give a fuck early in the season or not, Whitey. Doesn't matter. You are legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's Fox.
Company, you're a team. Like, what are you doing? How many
true.
seasons have you been doing this? At the beginning of the season, fuck you. Get your shit together. Get it together. I'm done with. There's no more excuses for them.
Nope.
Zero excuse. You made a TV deal. You re-signed a TV deal. You know what's going on. And you still didn't fix the main things that you need, which is showing the fans at home with your cameras and your camera angles and the shots of what is going on during a race. And that is still lacking. I could see trying to fix the booth, trying to do – I get it. Don't do the silly little skits that like with Larson and all that kind of chase bullshit stuff. That I could see is going away a little bit. But the main thing of showing the race, production, you're still trash.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
I give them something. Does your tone change if that little oopsie boo boo press the wrong button happens when they're coming to the line to the checkered flag?
I know we saw that in a truck race a couple years ago, and people lost their minds. You remember that?
I don't.
Oh, there was a truck race about 2 or 3 years ago where Fox missed the finish because they I don't even know if it was an accident. They went to commercial on the last lap and then came back after they crossed the line.
I don't know how I don't remember that, but no, I don't remember.
But that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like that stuff is just, and you could tell on Sunday because it happened multiple times that it was maybe something out of their control because they were in Matt, like you're saying, they were in mid calling the race and all of a sudden they didn't say, okay, we're going to commercial. Normally they're like, okay, we're cutting away to commercial. We'll be back. They didn't say anything like that. It just happened and went into a commercial.
I thought my wife changed the channel on me.
I got real confused.
Yo, what are you doing? She's like, the remote's by you. I'm like, what happened?
And then it flickered in and out of there was a Chevy commercial that kept coming in for a couple seconds and leaving too. Like, I mean, it was only for that little window of time, but I'm still in the thing of like, come on.
It's a body of work. It's a body of work with them. They don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore.
You're a billion-dollar company
for the past few years.
I mean, you're a billion-dollar company. You should be able to hire competent people. I get it. I forget.
Listen here, Rupert Murdoch, you old son of a bitch, you. You take my sport and you put respect on its name.
You don't even want to hear what I have to say about Rupert Murdoch. Anyways,
I knew as soon as I brought up Rupert Murdoch, Whitey would get all fired up.
Anyways, what you gonna call it? So I was listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast right before the show because he didn't upload it until like the middle of the afternoon today. Very disappointed in Denny's production team. Anyways, he was talking about it, and at first last week I was upset. I'm like, man, losing Dale Jr. in the booth is going to be rough this season. But he was talking about, he's like, they have a competent team. And the more I thought about it, it's like, they have a 4-man booth right now, or at least they did, with Dale Jr., Rick Allen. Yeah. So losing out on Dale Jr., you're still going to have 3 guys in the booth, plus all the people on the pit box, like Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett and all them. So I don't think it's a huge loss this season. I will miss hearing him call out trouble in turn 3 or turn 4, and then seeing the camera quick pan. But what Denny said was next year, NASCAR is going to really be helping with the production side for Amazon and TNT, which kind of makes sense too, because they're going to be running the production for the Xfinity series on the CW also. So that has me thinking like, oh, maybe Dale Jr. might have a little bit more freedom. And, you know, since it's kind of NASCAR productions, hopefully going to be running the show, they might fix a lot of these problems that we're complaining about as fans. At least Dale Jr. might be able to bring them to light as a fan himself. And we'll see what happens. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for Amazon and TNT to come into the fold.
I think Junior's laying the foundation and the groundwork for what is needed for a great production.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to benefit him in the end, having this year kind of off in a way.
I saw something too on Reddit too. I want to get your guys' opinion. Do you think that Amazon, it was like a conspiracy that Amazon got Dale Jr. to help pull more people into watching streaming? I know, like, is this the first season that the NFL has been streaming Thursday Night Football on Amazon?
Second year.
This is the second. So, like, I'm not an NFL fan, so I haven't been paying attention. But how has that transition been for, like, the casual NFL fan and everything? Is it still like, oh, we gotta download another thing, like that whole Peacock thing? No.
You're always gonna have that, but a lot more people have accepted it. Like my, nothing against my dad, but like my dad watches Thursday Night Football on Amazon, and I haven't really heard him complain about it.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, oh, maybe like Dale Jr. is a good like ambassador to get people on the streaming side, where it's like, oh, well, we gotta tune in for Dale Jr. You know, we'll figure it out.
Amazon just knows the time and the play. They're 12 steps ahead of everybody right now.
Yeah,
they are trying to jump out because they know. Listen, eventually, 10 years from now, they're gonna be what cable was. Everyone's just trying to fight their way to the top of that, so that when everyone just realizes that shit
folds and merges all together,
3 companies showing us everything.
Yeah.
There's companies right now, they're all trying to fight to get to be one of those 3.
Yeah.
And Amazon knows if you start now, you start getting the thing, when you're the most common one and everyone knows about it, everyone's just going to follow the leader. They're basically trying to be a bully right now and say, hey, come over. If you don't do this, then you're going to have the fans like us that no matter what are going to watch every week.
Yeah.
And the ones that they don't, guess what? They'll bitch, but guess what they're going to end up doing? They're going to be forced into having to do it anyway. Amazon knows that. They don't care who complain about it. Because guess what? You want to watch whatever you're going to watch, you're going to get it. I think about that the same as I do about gas. I couldn't tell you the price of gas in the last 10 fucking years. You want to know why?
You got to get it anyways.
Gas, I got to get it anyway.
Right.
Whether it's a nickel tomorrow or 10 cents next week, who gives a shit?
Here's the thing, though. I will say this because I have been paying attention to gas prices lately because it's ridiculous.
You had to go down this hole with Whitey.
You
had to.
This is all I'll say.
The politics didn't get him. It's the gas now.
To the viewer, if you just look down on your phone and you see the little 15 speed ahead 15, just tap that about 10 times and we'll be caught up by the time Whitey's done with his little gas, whatever he's about to go off.
I'm not going on a rant or anything. This is just a local tip for anyone in the Wyoming Valley of Pennsylvania, because I've noticed the old Penn Mart in West Pittston. I don't know what it's called now. Their gas has been like $3.39 a gallon for the last year straight. They never fucking changed the price. Sunoco down the road, it's $3.69 right now. It just keeps going up and down. I'm just going to the fucking Penmart, paying the same amount every week. I don't know how they're not changing the price, but they're not, and I've had no issues. So if you want to, it's cheap. It's the cheapest gas you'll get in the area. Just
Cheap
saying.
gas, always good.
Just saying.
They might be trying to drain that tank so they can refill it, Whitey. Just keeping it going, you know?
It could be because you want to know when I fill up, I don't see anyone else there. But
do they have new pumps? Because a lot of times maybe they're going to plan on getting all new. Maybe they need to get all new pumps and everything.
No, they have,
This is
they
the
have
part
newer
where they
pumps.
stop skipping ahead and they hear that we're still talking about gas, so they start skipping ahead some more.
Yeah, no, that's true. Anyway, I don't know. It's just something that bothers me because how could one place be $3.39 for the last 6 months and everyone else is going up and down and up and down? I just keep stopping there. I keep going. Anyways.
I know exactly how. It's just like how anything works. In
It's all made
NASCAR,
up.
there's people behind the scenes doing real greasy shit.
Yeah.
That's behind everything is someone doing something greasy.
Well, I did see the tanker truck the one day, and it had a bunch of lettering that it wasn't English. So who knows where that gas is coming from? I don't give a shit. My car's running just fine. Anyways, that's all I have for NASCAR news. You guys have anything else to add to the Dale Jr. jumping out of the NBC booth?
It'll be fun to watch how that develops. I'm excited for that partnership as well.
All right, and I'll give you guys an update on what the gas prices are in the Wyoming Valley next week during Gas Talk. Anyways, heading into the weekend, we had 3 great races. The truck race, Rajah Caruth getting his first win, a big historic win, just the third black driver to ever win in any of the top divisions of NASCAR, joining Bubba Wallace and Wendell Scott. So big congratulations to Rajah Caruth getting that Spire truck in victory lane. How about the Spire truck team, man? Kyle Busch won last week. He won this week. Still getting wins before the Cup Series, though. We'll see how that goes. But you guys didn't see it, but it was a good race. And then John Hunter Nemechek, the Xfinity race winner. I didn't get a chance to see it. I don't know how it went. Matt, you said you came in and out when you could.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek still has a punchable face.
All right, cool. And and then Kyle Larson, the big winner, he led 8 times for 181 of 267 laps. Just an absolute domination in Las Vegas. The race lasted at 3 hours and 28 seconds. We saw 6 cautions for 35 laps, 24 lead changes among 15 different drivers.
That race was only 3 hours yesterday?
Yeah.
Does that include the red flag?
That doesn't include red flag time. No.
Okay.
No. So yeah. You guys want to jump into the race grade? What do you guys think? We'll start with Matt.
I gave it a straight A. So didn't get the A+ tier, but still, that's 3 straight races to start the season in the A bracket, which is a fantastic start for the NASCAR season. The first stage, we could talk about this. I know the 3 of us were talking about it in real time yesterday, but the first stage was just like full of weird, like the weirdest first stage that I could think of. We had a couple cautions. We had a couple green flag commercial breaks. We had that red flag that I just mentioned. And I was finding it really hard to get into a rhythm of like watching a race. And so like, you know how it is, like when you're watching a race, like you get into a rhythm, like you got to get into a rhythm, just like the drivers are getting into a rhythm. Like you got to get into a rhythm. You're following what storylines are developing. You're following who's good on short runs, fast run, or long runs, who's good on tires. What's like, just, we didn't have really enough time for all those stories to start coming together before there was a commercial break or a caution or whatever. So it was hard to get into a rhythm. So the first stage I gave a D, and I was really like, God damn it. Like Las Vegas is going to disappoint us again. And then second stage started and we had a fantastic race, guys. Like I liked, like we had the passing. Yeah, we had Larson, pretty much dominate the whole race, but it was as entertaining of a race that someone dominated that you could pretty much have. And then at the end, you had the cherry on top with Reddick trying to chase him down, and you had that great battle. So, and guess what, guys? We're going to see those two battle it out for a long, long time for a lot of wins in the future.
Next week.
Oh, yeah. Next week in Phoenix.
It's going to happen next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. So get used to that, because that could be an on-track rivalry for years and years and years to come. So, it's just super, super fun watching those two wheel the cars around. And I loved it. So an A for me.
I thought it was funny. Eric's girlfriend, Dana, is a big Kyle Larson fan, and she was texting me near the end there. And I know you guys watch on streaming still. Are you on the antenna?
No, YouTube TV. I'm streaming it through my phone.
All right, because I was on the antenna. I was like, I don't want to spoil the end just in case you're a lap or two behind.
We were 2 laps behind.
Yeah, so
I could exit out of it and then redo it, and it'll catch up.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, at a certain point, I'm like, I don't want to even.
Yep.
No.
I'm doing it the way because I listen on my phone to EJ's scanner, and they have the camera on the phone, so I'm too.
You're ahead anyways.
Listen, I'm ahead anyway.
Yeah.
So I didn't spoil anything. I wouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? But
no, it was funny though.
When I know I'm on delay and EJ's even running well or something, and I know we text a lot. I'll put my phone off to the side. If I know something's doing, I don't even want to because I know I'm behind.
Yeah,
I watch on Xfinity on cable, and it varies sometimes because I'll listen to the scanner too. I'll listen to Chase the scanner, or I'll listen to if there's a good battle, I'll listen to their scanners. Sometimes the closest I'll get is about 10 or 15 seconds behind the scanner, but sometimes I'm 90 seconds behind the scanner. Yeah. So it depends.
Yeah, I know when I stream it, I'm usually a couple, 2 laps behind, like Eric said. But with the antenna, I feel like I'm ahead of Xfinity sometimes.
All the time, dude. You're always ahead of me.
As
a matter of fact, when I feel my phone buzz, especially at the end of races, I just don't look at it. I'll wait 2 or 3 minutes before I pick my phone up and look.
And that's what I was on the edge of my seat, and Dana texted me. She's like, I'm like, I forget what she said. She's like, I'm having a hard time breathing. It's so exciting and everything. I'm like, well, you're going to be breathing easy in a couple seconds because Larson already won.
As a matter of fact, I do that for most live events now. Is if I know a bunch of people are watching it, whether it's the Super Bowl, Notre Dame, an NFL game, whatever, Xfinity is typically behind, even if it's only 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So when I have my phone buzz in, sometimes if it's going, I'm like, oh, something big probably just happened.
Yeah.
But I won't look.
I'll wait. Dark. Yeah.
Yep.
But just a fucking, what a race. How about you, Eric? What'd you think about it?
Yeah, man, I totally agree with stage 1. We were all talking about it. It was just weird. It was strange. To your point, I found myself I was still doing shit around the house. I was still I'm going up to do this. I could go over here, do that. Oh, there's another caution. Okay. I don't have to sit down yet. Us 3, I could envision. I was you get ready for a race. You sit down on the couch, okay, and
you hunker down.
I was just still it almost the race never even started until stage 2 to me. Yes. That's how I felt. In my brain, the race didn't start till stage 2 in a way. So I do agree it was a weird stage 1, which wasn't the greatest, but you nailed it. From that point forward, we had an awesome race. Larson dominated, but the cars behind him, the racing was awesome. The cars handled like shit all day. That's what it came down to. Listening to EJ's radio, he was like, oh, this is not good. And his crew chief's like, everybody's car is handling like shit. He goes, you're running 14th right now. Everybody's saying the same shit as you. Just do what they're doing. Everyone's car handles like shit. So it's not that we're doing worse than anyone else. We're all dealing with it. The wind. That wind in Vegas.
Crazy.
It was crazy. That was causing a lot of handling controls for a lot of those cars out there as well. Then we had the track changing at the end. We had a little bit of shade come in. Some cars got a little bit tighter. And all of that is what you want in a good race. You want pit road issues to come into play. You want there to be great racing, 3 wide battles, 4, 5 wide battles on restarts. And the ill-handling cars, there were battles everywhere. There were cars going back and forth, and from one lap to another, you could have found something. Oh, but now you're in dirtier air. I felt that was key at Vegas. You got out front, and you were in that clean air. Everyone's radio said clean air. Their cars reacted and handled so much better. So to me, there's nothing you could do about that. It's kind of just these cars is what a lot of the drivers were saying. Like I heard Reddick say, well, this is next gen racing. Like, I think they're beginning to know how the air affects running up front and either passing for the lead or not. And that's the one thing with this car. And we saw it yesterday. People could get to Larson. Don't get me wrong. You were able to get there, but Larson's so good. All he does is give you that dirty air, go in the middle, go over top, and just giving you this wake of a mess of air behind you, and it just disrupts the car. And they can never make that pass. So to me, that is a little kink where it's like I gave it an A, but it could have been a little bit better if. See, circumstances. I think the 24, some issues that happened. I think we could have even had a better finish, boys.
Yeah.
Like, we had a great finish, but what if that 24 was there? Like, what if some of these, the 8, like, what if, there was the 1, you know what I mean? Like, some of these cars that had some issues, I think we could have had even better race at the end, but that's NASCAR. Shit like that happens. I love it.
Trash bag and the silver bullets. Strike again.
Trash bag and the silver bullets. If you don't know the reference, Rudy Fugel was on the morning drive this morning on Sirius XM. Of course, they had that. He's the crew chief of William Byron. But of course, they had that black bag stuck on their car. He said when they got it back to the shop, they opened it up. Then there was a couple Coors Light silver bullets stuck in the air box. So there must have been some beers in that black can or that black bag.
Shame on those fans, not for letting their shit get out on the track, but for letting the beers get out there, because goddamn it, no soldiers are left behind at a racetrack.
Here's the thing, though. He never said if they were full or empty. I think they might have been some empties.
I pictured
full beers too.
I pictured full beers too, but I guess it would probably make more sense that they were empty.
Yeah, there's a couple crushed cans.
Why did we do that? They were definitely empty. They had to have been.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows though? No, you want to? If they were full,
no, bag wouldn't have taken flight.
If they're full, yeah.
That's what I mean. They had to have been empty. But I pictured as when I heard that story this morning. It was a full beer that they plucked out of there, which is hilarious.
Guy cracks it open. It's nice and cold from the air. Whatchamacallit? I agree with everything you guys are saying. I gave it an A as well. Like Eric said, first stage, couldn't get into it. I was up and down the stairs throwing in laundry and towels and whatnot. You know how I finally got into the race? I sat in this chair and I watched it on my computer, and I put my phone down. And I just sat and I watched, and I feel like that's how I'm going to watch the races from now on. The only time I picked up my phone was when I would hear it vibrate, like you said, I'd text you guys back, or I'd make changes to my fantasy lineup like midway through. But I'll
tell you what, you might have just changed the way, because we have a TV right here in the office where I might watch it up here, sitting in an office chair. I've got the computer in front of me for stats and all that, and I'm just up here in my little.
Yeah,
you retain. I bet you retain more, and you stay forward. Less distractions watching it that way. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with everything. I love the cat and mouse battle between Larson and Reddick, and it was all day long too. Every stage and Reddick was coming up, so that was exciting. But not only that, like you said, we saw great racing throughout the field. I got mad at Fox at one point because they cut away from someone making a pass to cut to another person making a pass. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, well, there's too much action going on at the track right now, which is never a bad thing. I'm just glad it didn't turn into like a big, like, Larson's ahead by 10 seconds and there's only 15 guys on the lead lap. So I was really thankful for that. But yeah, once we got out of that first stage, the whole day, the whole race, real interesting. A lot of guys having bad days on pit road. A lot of great cars taken out because of it. We'll talk about some of those in a little bit. But yeah, just an A race for me all around.
You can call it now. Teammate of the year goes to Bubba Wallace. I mean, it didn't necessarily work out the way he wanted it to, but goddamn, that guy tried his hardest to get his teammate a win, man.
I want to say something about that before you go here, Whitey.
All right.
I thought about that and I'm like, in my head, this is where I'm going. I think that hurt Tyler Reddick.
The pushing?
I just think it gave him a little more confidence in his car, what he could do when it really wasn't there. It was maybe the help behind him, or pushed him too much and maybe wore a tire. I don't know. Everyone thinks it could have been a benefit, but to me,
no,
do you think your car is better than it was because of that? Or
no,
I don't know.
No.
I liked it. I thought it was cool and awesome of him to try to help him get up there. And he did help him get up there.
Yeah.
But him helping him get up there, did that take away a few laps?
No, you reminded me of what I wanted to originally say before I got into my race grades, where you were talking about the blocking and everything, where Larson was just taking away lines. I wonder if the cameras in the car are a reason for that, the next gen style racing, where now these guys have a camera where they see the whole entire back. A lot of times the guys clear themselves. So we always saw mirror driving and everything, but the mirrors were much smaller. It was less to see and everything. Now you have the whole entire picture. Do you think that kind of it makes it easier to take away some of those lines off of a driver trying to catch up to you from the back? Because I think that's why Larson was so good, because he was making every move perfectly to block any type of run Reddick had. And I think he even said it. He goes, I was watching my mirror the whole time, So I just wonder if it's just edged out just a little bit more.
I agree, and I hate how they still use my mirror when it's not a mirror. They're kind of making it seem like they're going old school with it, but they're not. And I never thought about that before, but I would imagine that gives you way more confidence in a move to do, or this. I'd have to say it definitely helps.
Now it's right in front of you now, instead of having to peek up. It's
right on the dash.
There.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as we were just talking, but to your point about Bubba pushing, I thought it was a great move. I thought it was super genius too. Apparently he was on pit road. He's like, hey, time it out so I could get behind him and help him out. So Bubba planned that kind of thing, because he was a couple laps down, but his car was absolutely fine. He was only down because of that lug nut getting stuck. But I mean, we watched him make up over a second in 10 laps or so. And then he kept the distance there. There was a green flag stop in between there where he lost track position to Larson. And that's what kind of killed him, was a longer pit stop than Larson had, where you remember he tried to short pit a lap ahead of Larson. And I was kind of glad that Bubba didn't get involved at the end. I wanted him to throw a block on Larson. I wanted him to push Reddick back up to his bumper. But I was kind of glad he stayed out of it and let those guys race their way. But watching those last couple laps, there was a point where Reddick was running that high line and getting just 0.2 every lap or so, and he got so close, but then he got tight and had to back off. And after that, it was just done. And even he said Larson was just taking away every line he had. And then Larson was saying the same thing, where he's like, I was watching my mirror taking away every line that Reddick had. So I don't know. I don't know if it made him overconfident in his car. It could though. I mean,
maybe I was just thinking too, super speedways on my brain. It's the first real race where I'm thinking you're the lead car, you're getting pushed, he's using fuel, he's eating his tires up, trying to get there. Like that kind of stuff maybe is where my head was going with that. But to your point about wanting to throw the block, and to kind of tie in the Logano talk in the beginning with the gloves, I think Bubba does throw the block there if Cole Custer never gets nabbed for what he did.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
So there it is. You give someone a penalty that is egregious enough to the point where it's hey, I ain't gonna do that again. And I think the whole Cup garage realized after what happened to Custer, hey, Bubba, don't you dare think about blocking right now, because in the beginning of the season to have
huge
that
penalty
would be the worst penalty at this point in the season. So there, to my point, I guess, is if you have a hard enough penalty, I think it is a deterrent.
And if you don't remember from a couple seasons ago, what Eric's talking about, I believe Cole Custer, he led up on, it was a road course, right? Was it the Roval, or it was definitely a road course.
It was the
Was it?
Was it the Roval?
No, something happened on the Roval too. I want to say Bowman was involved with something.
I don't know. I just remember Cole Custer, he like led off and kind of threw a real bad block to let Chase Briscoe get ahead of him and pull up an extra position. I think it was in the Roval. It had to be in the playoffs when Briscoe made it into the playoffs his second year. So I don't know.
Oh, I think you're right, Whitey. I think you're right. I think you're right.
But
it was
they got
something like a
slapped with
restart
race
where like he didn't
manipulation.
get going, and then everyone else went around. He like caused. It was a blatant where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, he definitely like even the throttle braking, all of that. The SMT data was like, oh, you just did that because you needed your teammate to get up there. So
That reminded me, we didn't mention it in the news. Like we mentioned it, but I forgot to bring it up. SHR for the 4th year in a row, getting a big penalty off the bat for just manipulating their cars. Like how are they so bad and get caught cheating so much? You know? Like
they always did. I mean, it seems like they're always the one pushing that envelope, like trying to, like you said it, you know, like that razor thin line you're trying to, you know, to stay on. And it seems like most of the time the teams stay on it or underneath it.
Yeah.
They charge those boys.
They
Man,
don't give a fuck.
They push it to the limit.
They do.
So,
Push it to the limit.
Walk along the razor's edge. You're gonna put it. I haven't seen Scarface in a while, but that's a fucking, man, what a banger. Anyways, you guys want to take a quick break and we'll come back live with the checkers and wreckers.
$3.39 a gallon?
$3.39 a gallon.
3 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go.
It's this week's Checkers and Wreckers.
All right, and since we started with Matt for the race grades, we'll start with Daytona Ron, Eric for the checkers and wreckers. What'd you think? What'd you like? What didn't you like?
We're all big on Slick Willie 2 clocks here at this podcast. We are huge fans. We saw this run that he's going on coming from way, way back. And, you know, I saw something yesterday that irritated me from a previous era when I was a Kenseth fan and watching when I first started of, God damn it, Jimmy Johnson could have the worst day of his life. Everything goes wrong. And when the race ends, I look and I'm like, Jimmy Johnson, top 10? What?
Like, where'd that come from?
Where did that come? How did he do that? Because when my driver goes a lap down and blows a tire, his whole day is ruined.
It's done.
But Jimmy Johnson, no, he
Kyle
comes back.
Busch has a lot of that in him too.
Yeah,
Dude,
and it's like, I saw that yesterday with Slick Willie 2 clocks. I don't know if it's his team, if it's the magic inside of him, but certain drivers, certain teams, when you become a champion, you need to have a little bit of that on your side.
Yeah.
That is just, there's no denying that.
You just
And
hit the nail on that. I was going to say Blaney. Blaney's
Maximize
got
bad
that, man.
days, yeah.
Right.
They mentioned it yesterday. They're like, oh, look at him. Like, he's been quiet, but here he is in the top 5.
Finished third.
Yep.
So for him to have that issue with the trash bag, lap down, silver bullet in the air duct, engine literally about to explode the temps, and he came back to finish in the top 10.
Finished 10.
P10. And I'm like, that to me is like, okay, like, I know he's good, he's fast. That takes a lot of, like, I remember talking on this podcast 2 years ago about it, where it's like, you need to be able to get over stuff like that. You can't let that kind of stuff bother you. And when that happens in race, it takes a championship driver and a mature driver to be able to be like, okay, the plan changes, but it's still the same.
Let's
go
figure
out
it
and
out.
win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, when you could do that as a team, as a driver, and still go out there and give it all, knowing that at any moment your engine could literally explode in front of you. I don't know. It just gave me that little bit of like, ooh, Slick Willie is a champion. He's gonna be like, he has that luck, that bit of luck on your side, I guess, if you want to call it that or whatnot. But what I saw, it was just, I used to get so mad at Jimmy. So my checkers goes to Slick Willie, hanging in there through battle and throughout the day to come out P10.
I like it. I like it a lot. And the Jimmy Johnson comparison, I never put together. Like, I didn't think about it, but like, it makes all the sense where like, even when you're having a bad day, we saw it with Kyle Larson a couple years ago, Coke 600. He was on fire, you know? And then he comes back and did he win that race or did Denny win that race?
Oh, was that the epic
Big speech from Cliff Daniels?
Cliff Daniels gave him that epic speech.
And I don't, did he win that Coke 600? I don't remember.
I think he did.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to say he did because it was so epic of a rant. Continue. Yeah. I'll look into it.
Where it's just like, those are the types of things you need. You need to be able to just overcome any type of little thing. And like you said, like Blaney does it all the time. Logano does that shit all the time. Yeah. And I was going to say, like, that's just Slick Willie 2 Clocks being cool, calculated, not worrying about it. But Blaney does it. And Blaney's a fucking maniac melting down on the microphone all the time. So like, I don't know. I think it's just one of those things you either have it or you don't. Can you even learn that? I don't know.
Coke 600, 2001, brother.
2021?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. 2021. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. So that was halfway through the race. They thought they were done. Came back to win. And that, you're right. That's championship type shit. Hopefully one day Tyler Reddick will get there. But when he goes lap down, he screws up in the pits and then goes down 2 laps and 3 laps. So we'll see what happens. How about your record?
Right into my records is the 45 of Tyler Reddick. So, Whitey, great segue into my records here.
That's a professional right there.
My boy fired up on a Monday show early in the season. I had to do it, buddy. It's one of those things where we've talked about it last year, and to me, this isn't just a Reddick thing. I almost wanted to do a Toyota.
Yeah.
They still have not gotten their fundamentals down, and that's destroying their teams and their seasons, where it's those silly things. It's the pit road fundamentals. It's the driver getting in and out of your pit box things. It's those small, minute little details that they need to really clean up. And we talked about it last year. They need to clean that up before they get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Denny, because of how he did his normal screw-ups in clutch time. He always, or his team always, messed up.
Yeah.
And we saw on Sunday the 45 car have opportunity to leapfrog that 5, and he knew it.
Yeah,
and I could tell in the post-race, Whitey, Reddick was frustrated in himself, and I don't like that because, like, it's too early for him to get frustrated over something like that. You know what I mean? It's too. To me now, I don't know, you listen to more in-depth stuff, but to me it seemed like the same thing that I'm thinking, like, I thought we should have had this cleaned up, and I can't believe I did this type of thing, and this isn't me. Like, he knows that it was his. He knew he screwed up there on pit road. He knew that was his race.
Yeah.
Right there, the minute he screwed up, that was his opportunity, because of what we said earlier in our race grades with the dirty air. Dirty air, it was terrible. He knew in order to get in front of Larson, and I'm sure Reddick would have pulled away to a 2, 3, 4 second lead too.
Oh, yeah.
With clean air in front. And he knew that was the time to do it.
Reddick had faster lap times than Larson did, like average lap times, you know? So, yeah.
So I just think it's kind of like, I think even Reddick, what I'm saying is feeling the frustrations of Gibbs and the team and everything of just like, when is this going to end?
Yeah.
You know, like, when is Reddick going to get what I just said Slick Willie 2 Clocks and some of these other guys has, as Matt referred to? Like, when is that time going to come for Reddick and that team? I'm not so sure it's going to, as long as Denny is still there, because look at what happened with Denny his whole career. And like, I'm not pinpointing anything, Whitey, but maybe that is what it is. Maybe that it factor propels you to certain things, and it doesn't. Like, you could be a great race car driver, Hall of Fame race car driver, but never win a championship because of those stupid luck type of. That's why you need everything to go right in a race weekend. Everything needs to go right. Yeah. So I felt bad for the 45 because I thought he had an opportunity to show that, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
We know they're going to battle. But it seems like Larson is getting those wins. He's stacking them up. You know, he's getting those wins. He's up to like 26 now. And I remember just when he had 4 or 5, he's still looking for his first one.
Yeah.
When he didn't want to wreck Kenseth at Dover because he's like, I don't want to win that way.
Yeah.
And now here he is. And it seems like it's almost a guarantee at some of these racetracks now. And I don't know if it's a 2311 thing or a Toyota thing, but look at Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
They pushed the limit again. I just think they have the speed there over at Toyota, but the fundamentals, they need to get back to the technical things and the little nuances that happen into a race. But my records goes to the 45, just right there.
So close. A couple of things. He definitely doesn't have that type of I could overcome this and stay calm type of thing yet. He's getting there though. He is.
Yeah.
Because being a fan in that 8 car, the first 2-3 years, like he just would melt down and overdrive that car. He doesn't do that nearly as much as he does. He doesn't do that now nearly as much as he did. You know,
it takes time to get to the level of championship ready.
Yeah.
It took Chase Elliott a few years. They were talking about him. Is he an underachiever? Yada, yada, yada. Until he figured it out and started ripping it off. Slick Willie 2 clocks up until last season. Nobody was really writing him off, but people were definitely questioning him, you know.
Absolutely.
Blaney, it takes time for these guys.
Same with
and
Larson.
Reddick I don't want to say is going to figure it out because he has figured it out. It's just you got to put full races together. You got to avoid those dumb penalties on pit road, and it'll come to him. But it's also super hard when you're dealing with the generational talent of Kyle Larson out there as well. That
Absolutely.
You're going to be running up. He's going to be in your way, literally and figuratively, the rest of your career. So you got to figure out how to play ball with it. You know.
That and that's the thing too. Like the competition is so stiff right now. But that was something Denny brought up on his podcast too, and even Cliff Daniels, crew chief Kyle Larson, he said it on the not the morning drive. It was Dave Moody I was listening to on the way home, where he was saying like today, like yesterday's race, he realized how close the field truly was in terms of like competitiveness. You know, like. We saw Spire.
Didn't they say at one point, Whitey, between first and like 20 something, they were only off by a couple like tenths or something?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on the air or I think that's might have been what EJ's spotter and crew chief was telling him. Like, hey, yes, your car is handling like crap. You think you're bad, but you're running better. Like you're in 14th running good lap times right now. It's same as what 7th is running. The 7th place car. You're doing just as good. It's Clean Air is up there. So the competition is insane this year.
But to the other point about just the pit crew issues in general, especially for Toyota in 2311, Denny was talking about that today. You have to remember, this is only the 4th year that this team is in existence, and this is the only 2nd year that they have their own pit crews. Before that, they were using Joe Gibbs pit crews, and Denny flat out said, he goes, there's guys that are amazingly talented that are locked into like long-term contracts with other pit crews where they're basically just getting like who was left, who's new, and like just it's a lot of, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like the bad news bears of pit crews because they're definitely more competent than that, but it's like it's not the standard of a Hendrick pit crew where they're putting down 9.003 second pit stops while Reg's doing like a 9.9, like shit like that. So there's a couple different factors to it that Denny was talking about of what they have to work on themselves.
Did Denny mention that maybe he might be a factor at all in this? Because it's his race team and it's his responsibility to make sure that these guys are in tune and trained enough and skilled enough and get the job done every Sunday. You have one job out there and all week to practice it. I know goes back to it, even with the pit crews boys, which I love about Fox. We could get, sidetracked there. They do great highlighting them. I think some of the pit crew members could either have that championship under pressure mentality too. Could
Yeah.
the pit crew guys, does the pressure get too much for some of those guys?
Could, yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
And we're not just talking driver, but what if these crew guys is like, oh shit, like last stop, like I barely got that on. Now this is the money stop. I better get it on.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, yeah, who gives a shit about that last stop? I've been here before. I've played for blah, 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 blah. So not only drivers, I think pit crew guys could get a little, get the yips.
No, you make a great point because like that their speed and time, like that's the pressure that they're feeling and everything too. Like they're just as much athletes going through this whole entire thing together, So like
they highlighted it yesterday, like Eric just touched on briefly with the Fox package about highlighting these pit crew guys. They're all like, yeah, former athlete. I played here, I played there. So like they know how to deal with pressure. I mean, in a lot of ways, they have just as much pressure as the driver does, especially on those. Hey,
if
last
not more,
pit stop of the day, we can't mess this up. Last pit stop of the day, especially those last green flag pit stops. Oh my God, you've got to be perfect.
Money.
You're the jack man. The driver goes on you dropping that.
Yep.
If you're not paying attention and looking to see if that guy's lug is on or not, and you drop that wheel loose, like so much is going on. In literally
less than 10 seconds. Less than 10 seconds.
If you're that jack guy or you're the wheel guy and you are a second off of your job, that's the race.
Yep.
So
the pressure is immensely enormous for these guys.
So
and
I just slid into the box.
They're disposable to a point where a lot of those guys, they don't perform. They're gone. They get swapped
I just
out
left
quick.
the box. That's a 9-second pit
quick.
stop in between there. That whole sentence that you just did is a pit stop.
Yep.
Like that's how quick, and they're running around the car and everything. Like that's insanity. That's it. You want to
They're like when I take hot soup out of the microwave, like I'm afraid to go too fast or it'll spill. These guys are flying around a car and zapping little fractions of a set. It's like it's insane. It's insane what they do.
I liked how the one pit crew guy that got highlighted from Trackhouse this week said he was the guy that got hit by the truck a couple of years ago. Where these guys can get hit by cars and shit. Like it happens all the time. At least once a season, someone gets smoked by a car.
Well, luckily enough for us, we have insider information on one of our buddies who got smoked by a car a bunch of times in his life. We can have him on to give us some insight. Shout out Robbie Schrey.
Those cars are going a little slower, I think, too. So, but man, fucking, how many cars was he hit by? 9?
Oh, too many. Too many. I was there for at least 3 or 4 of them.
I think the number's 9. I could be wrong, but if it is 9, like Schrey, you got to get the double digits, bro.
One more. You need one more.
We'll get a snap tomorrow of him throwing himself in front of a vehicle.
Like, oh shit, what happened to Robbie Schrey? Dude, he got hit by his 10th car. He's 36 years old.
A grown-ass man.
I'm sorry.
Our friends get taken out by cars and chicken sandwiches. Oh, boy.
Man, treacherous times in the Wyoming Valley. Whatchamacallit? No, one thing I did want to make, though, one last point about the 2311 pit crews, though. Denny said they're still working on that shop. He said like the goal is getting in there soon, and they're gonna have like a state-of-the-art type of pit practice thing. And then even one of his podcast producers was talking about just like the process of moving guys up from tire carrier to jackman, like shit like that, where they are constantly trying to build and everything. So we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you, that's a good point, Whitey, because Legacy's in the same position. They hired their first ever pit crews in-house. Like they used to have to go get the scrubs. That was the leftovers to do what they did.
Yeah.
Now they said, you know what? We're getting the funding. We're going to get and train our own pit crews in-house. And I'm expecting them to have hiccups in their, first year too. And you don't take into consideration like all that's going on with Denny and all that. And like we always talked about it. How much of that is a distraction, and does that affect your team? And with
Absolutely.
Tony doing too much, and where's your focus and your mind frame on? So yeah, I think us in the media, a lot of times, if you want to call us in the media, we kind of set unreal expectations for some of these owners and these teams too when they have these big moves and these
you want instant
so-called
success.
distractions in the background going on. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, like we're considering, at least in my head right now as I talk, until I thought about this, 2311 was Joe Gibbs to me. And I'm like, wait a minute.
It's not Joe Gibbs.
This is a new team. Like, I'm just thinking Toyota and Gibbs. That's all it ever was.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just assuming that Reddick and and Bubba, that's just Joe Gibbs. I'm like, that shouldn't be happening. But I have to tell myself that's affiliate. Like, this is their own team.
Yeah.
They could struggle. They're new. That's going to happen. We're giving RFK the benefit of the doubt because they don't have anyone big behind them like a Gibbs that like they're tied to. So it's like we have to look at RFK and 2311 and Legacy in kind of a different light when it comes to teams and performance and how quick maybe they get to a certain level of success.
And that's what he was saying. That's what Denny was saying. And you guys are going to be dealing with it too at Legacy, where like a lot of the good, not the good, a lot of the excellent, like A+ talent pit crew guys, they're signed to long contracts with bigger teams like Gibbs and Hendrick and everything like that. And then like all these guys, they're very talented, but they're not elite level.
They need practice.
They need time. They need
seasoned enough yet.
Exactly. And I don't want to discourage you either, Eric, but Denny said that Legacy does have some sort of alliance with 2311 for the pit crews and practice and all that. I didn't get to finish that piece of the podcast. It was one of the last things I listened to before we got on air here. So I'll have to like rewind and listen to it more intently. But just something interesting to think in mind, because like you said, like Denny even said it, he goes, Trackhouse Racing got lucky because they bought a team that was already good to begin with. Justin Marks was genius in that part where like they already had the pit crew infrastructure and stuff. Like Chip Ganassi wasn't an A+ level team, but he was still an A-, so like the Trackhouse was a little bit higher than 2311 in the goals and whatnot, so it's interesting. And I think we do forget how young these teams are, Legacy is basically a brand new team. They took the ashes of whatever was left over from Petty. And
right. So I'm trying to like pump the brakes on expectations and just what to get at. Like it's a new team. Well, like what, you know what I mean? There's going to be hiccups and stuff.
Takes time. It takes time.
But let's see. Let's get to Matt. What's your checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
Yep. So my checkers goes to Noah Gragson and that 10 team. I think it was 9. It's been 9 months. I think I heard earlier today that he when was since the last time he was on like a 1.5 mile track, which is crazy.
So, yeah.
Obviously, we know how he lost his job last year over some boneheaded stuff, and took a lot of maturity over the past handful of months, half a year. He landed on his feet. He got into an organization that is down on its luck, but still, what could be a top tier organization. It's hard to kind of peg what SHR is nowadays, but he's in a 10 car that's won recently, right? Like, so he's in a car that can perform. And he took his talents. We all know how talented Noah Gragson is, right? He's got to stay out of his own way.
Yeah.
And we saw it yesterday, and only his 3rd race with this organization. So I was really encouraged. I like Noah. I root for him. I think you guys kind of do too. We used to go back and forth with him.
Yeah, we hated him for a while in the Xfinity series.
You want to talk about things taking time? Like, it took us time to kind of get won over by Noah, and he won us over time. And so I root for that dude. And yesterday was encouraging, but now it's like, can you string this along? Can you do it again next week? Can you in Phoenix? Can you do it again when we get back to the East Coast? Let's just see some consistency before we say that SHR found something or that the 10 found something. But it was good to see a little glimpse and a good 6th place finish out of that team.
I agree.
I saw a glimpse into the future on Sunday because for a couple laps there, Fox, they showed the 54 and the 10 racing each other, battling. Ty was bumping them in the back. They were really working each other.
That bad blood's still there.
That's a real rivalry.
Yeah.
Like, they do not like each other.
So I had like a weird, like during the race, like, oh my God,
I
like
got
I
excited
saw
at that point
15
too.
years into the future being like, oh shit, like this is still going on, you know?
Yeah, I noticed they were next to each other, and Fox was highlighting a little bit. I was getting excited. I'm like, ooh, I forgot about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your records? What's your records for the weekend?
It goes to the one team, so not necessarily Ross Chastain, but whoever's responsible. So they had to go to the back to start the race for unapproved adjustments, and the unapproved adjustment was because their wrap. There was something wrong with the wrap on the car, the paint scheme itself. I've personally never heard of that happening before, and honestly, I had a hard time finding a records, which is kind of why I landed on this one. But it to me, that screams sloppiness. You know, attention to detail is everything in our sport. We were just talking about how fast these pit stops are, 9 seconds, whatever they might, 10 seconds. Every second matters. Every detail matters in this sport. And it's just, there's something wrong with the wrap. It just, that screams sloppiness to me. So just get better. One car, you know, I know a lot of people don't like Ross. I like Ross. I like everything he stands for, and I want to see him do good. I want to see him racing for wins. So to see something like that kind of start his race weekend off on the wrong foot, it was a bummer.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's the reason why. I knew he had a rough day on like pit road where he had a penalty on there too and everything. Still salvaged a top 5 finish, 4th place.
Yeah. That 2 tire stop saved his ass.
It really did. Yep. And you want to know, he was able to hold on with 2 tires for a while too. So
I didn't think so. I
know he was struggling. Like he's hard to pass, but
I texted you guys before that.
He's gonna wreck something.
I go, oh boy. I go, the one is about to literally wad up everyone behind him and go in his holler and say, well, I was racing for a win on the Phoenix. And like, I was just waiting for it because like, it was just lined up. Old tires, 2 tires, like, oh, he's going to make a bad block, a shitty, he's going to put, oh, I was waiting for it. So I'll give him kudos for not overdriving in that situation,
wadding up the field.
See, that tells me he learned, because a year ago, 2 years ago, he would have raced a 5th place to a 10th place car trying to win with that and wreck his car out and come in 28th.
Yeah.
He's finally maybe learning to be like, hey, why take a 10th place car and try to go and win and wreck and come in 28th when I could just, okay, take it easy here and come in 5th.
Yeah.
Just come in 5th.
Salvage
That's fine.
the day.
It's early. Yeah, salvage the day. Exactly.
We're points racing, man. Just points race for now, you know? Yeah, I think that's a good one, though. Let's see. My checkers. I give it to the truckers as a whole. Last week, we went on a big old rant making fun of the truckers. We came up with some funny T-shirts and whatnot. And then this week, it was a nice, clean race. We only saw 1 natural caution for a truck race. Insane.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right? That's
unbelievable.
Yeah. I caught the truck race right about the beginning. I think it was the beginning of the 2nd stage or so. So I didn't see the 1st stage. So I missed that caution. It ran caution free. And, you know, like Friday night, I was in and out. I was on my phone and stuff. I wasn't really paying much attention. And then at the end, Rajah's running away with this win. I'm like, oh man, Rajah can win this one. But it's the fucking trucks, and we got about 20 laps to go.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see 4 more cautions.
We're going to see 4 more cautions, and we didn't see any where I'm like, holy shit, I had to give the checkers to the truck guys. They all raced very respectfully and cleanly. They must have gotten ripped apart. We talked about it last week where they were afraid in Atlanta. They must have got ripped apart after Daytona.
Trucking on a Friday.
Just trucking on a Friday, baby. But it was a good time. Good win for Rajah. I was listening to the morning drive too. I didn't realize he's still like a senior in college. Like he's going to college during the day, racing on the weekends, and then iRacing at night. Like, I don't know where you find that time. College, man. So good on him. And then my wreckers, kind of like Matt, I didn't really have much to wreck in this race. So I gave it to Bell's Day. Stage 1, he had that right rear tire issue almost immediately. Then after that, he worked his way back onto the lead lap and finished the stage out in 10th, where you're like, all right, Christopher Bell's coming back. And then he spun on his own near the end of the second stage, and he was pretty much done after that. So just a rough one. I think one of us picked him to win this race.
I did.
Yeah, Eric did. Got you 5 points. That sucks. Because
he had a good car. When he came back to 10th, I'm like, okay, he salvaged the day. Here we go. I had him in fantasy too, and I'm like, all right, come on, Bell, get it together here. I think the setup they had on that car it didn't work. No matter what kind of air pressure changes they did, the setup on that car was way too aggressive, I think. And I don't know where he spun, but there are some pretty wicked bumps at Vegas.
I just got so when Whitey said that he was still in college, I actually didn't know that. So I was curious on where he went to, right? So he goes to Winston-Salem State University. And I'll tell you what, I pissed away 4.5 years at college because I could have been going to Winston-Salem State University to study motorsport management.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
what?
I mean,
Nothing like a college that's sponsored by cigarettes, too. If that doesn't say NASCAR, I don't know what does.
I mean, if that isn't the area to go for motorsports management, I don't know what else. What is, you know?
Good old pack of Winston.
Your welcome package contains a carton of Winston Longs.
Hundreds, baby.
Yeah. Couple Salem Slims.
Sometimes I really miss smoking cigs.
Dude, motorsport management. Now that's what I'm talking about.
You know what you end up with a motorsports management degree though?
Yeah, on top of a war wagon at Daytona, baby.
No, doing a NASCAR podcast like the two of us who went for broadcasting anyway.
That's true.
That's it. Fair. That's it. We're doing a podcast with Eric in Pennsylvania anyways, you know?
I'm the trash bag and you guys are the silver bullet.
Yeah. Oh, man.
No one saw coming.
That's the new name of our podcast, The Trash Bag and Silver Bullets. Let's see. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, that's all I got for the checkers and wreckers. Let's see if there's anything else throughout the race.
That's all I have for this podcast.
I have to bring it up. I have to bring it up. Corey LaJoie, once again, couldn't finish a good day off. Spun himself out. 33 to go at the end.
He did. He finished a lap down. His teammate finished in what, 16th?
15th. Carson Hocevar in the 77.
And then
rookie. Had a great day. Battled up front all day long too.
Did you see the video?
Someone finished the race. Sorry, someone finished the race and somebody didn't.
Yeah.
And the one that finished the race was a rookie. And the one that didn't is this so-called, greatest driver in the world according to everybody else. Yeah. So I don't know. We were a little nervous there, but
we were
in the back of my mind, I knew he wasn't going to make it. I knew it.
I wasn't nervous. I knew something was going to happen.
Like literally any restart at Las Vegas, if he was in the front or second row, he would have been the one instead of Ross to cause a huge thing because in those clutch moments, he doesn't know how to do that anymore.
Nervous.
He's so used to running around in 24th and 25th and not having to deal with anything that I don't know if he'll ever know what it's like to run up front on a consistent basis like that. It just, at this point, I want him to do well. I'm like going full turn where it's just like, what else?
Like, prove us wrong.
Are we
prove us
on
wrong.
The wagon too?
Yeah, no, it's like prove us wrong.
Yeah. Now I'm rooting for you. I'm the biggest Corey LaJoie fan in the entire world after this. You know what? I hope Corey wins every race from this point forward.
Did you see him complaining about the way Carson Hocevar raced him in that race too? He was complaining about the way his teammate raced him. I thought he was
going to blame the six for not even touching him.
No, he blamed Carson Hocevar for racing him too hard as a teammate.
Excuses. He's going to be like Matt DiBenedetto. He's just going to be done.
A lot of people are calling him Matt DiBenedetto 2.0, where he's like turning off his fan base because all he does is whine. A lot of people are, because the video got posted on Twitter today where it was a post-race interview where he was talking about how he didn't like the way Carson was racing him. He has to talk to him in the shop, and all the comments are just like, this guy just whines about everything. He whines and whines and whines.
Everything.
He should have never taken that opportunity in that 9 car.
No.
Ever since then, he's been in a put up or shut up scenario and situation. And every time he does something like this or runs, it's going to get compared to that. And you're right. Now it's out there in the ether. Everyone's compared. Once you start comparing and getting that out there, that's
it's
tough
a
to come
dangerous
back
game
from.
to play. Here's the thing, though. He did run well in the beginning. We'll see how the rest of his season goes. Spider in general ran pretty well, except for who's the third guy over there? He's a rookie.
Zane Smith.
Yep. He
in the 71. Yeah, he had issues.
He hit the wall early. He never got to show what he had for the day. I think he was like multiple laps down.
I'll say this: key bold take. Carson Hocevar next year will be Spire number 1. Corey LaJoie will no longer be there because Hocevar is going to outperform him in the same shit.
Oh, that's something to watch this season. We'll see what happens.
Pressure's on him now. I love this. I can't wait to watch this Hocevar, this Spire battle. To be honest, I don't know how many other podcasts are going to be watching this, but I think with the attitude, the situation that Corey LaJoie is in, Hocevar, we know how he races, and being in there, I think there's a little bit of animosity amongst teammates already after this. So this could be one of these low-tier team battles to look out for.
Listen, for a long time now, if you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, shout out to all the day oneers. We're usually about a season ahead of the trend. We called Slick Willie 2 clocks, not last year, but the year before that. We called Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher not last year, but the year before that too. So this might be the battle. It might not be this season, but it might be next season. So I
had Blaney winning the championship a year ahead of schedule too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, if we're seeing it, someone else might be too. We'll see what happens. Trying to think, we pretty much covered pretty much the top 10 besides Ty Gibbs. He had a rough day with the loss of first gear.
Winning the $100 million in the lottery too this year. So
we'll see what happens.
I made
next
that
year
as a prediction. So Eric, next year, buddy.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll get ourselves a studio.
I get in the mail one of those fake scratchers where you think you won $1 million.
I won the money.
The money is mine. I won the money. The money is mine. I won it. I won the money. What a fucking great movie.
Great movie.
Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.
Better than Christmas Vacation.
You want to what? I've never seen Christmas Vacation in its entirety.
Matt, I agree.
Yeah. I'll take your guys' word for it. Vegas Vacation is my favorite of all the vacation movies I've seen. European Vacation is absolutely awful.
The worst.
Yeah. But I never saw Christmas Vacation. Man.
Wait a second. This is on our nightly podcast, Trash Bag and the Silver Bullets. We're reading the wrong lineup.
Oh, my bad. That was the best and worst Chevy Chase movies. We'll get to that list on the podcast.
We have a 3-hour podcast coming out later this week on that.
Yeah, look it up on your RSS feed. It's Trash Man and the Silver Bullets. Let's see, rest of the top 10 or so. We covered Gibbs. We covered Gregson. Truex, he led once for 4 laps. He was kind of quiet all day. Hamlin led once for 16 laps. He was trying to get in the mix at the end there, but all those guys kind of had a hard time passing Ross for a little bit, slowed them down in that final start there. We talked about Logano won the pole. He led the first 2 laps and fell off pretty quick. He salvaged himself a 9th place finish. And then Slick Willie 2 clocks coming in 10th. Want to say, tell you about 11th place Suarez. He led twice for 15 laps. They said after winning last week, they were trying some fun stuff with the setup, and it seemed like they were running pretty well. So good on Daniel Suarez with an 11th place finish. Kyle Busch, we talked about him sliding through that pit box, right? Or was that before the show?
That was before the show. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Because remember, I brought up the I don't know if we could, maybe we could save that for next week or something. Pick a lane, or if you boys want to roll through it, it's out there.
We're getting close on time here, so mark that down. We'll save it for next week. But we want to talk about rules and calling rules. When to call a penalty, essentially. But Kyle Busch, he had a fucking great car. He should have at least a top 10, if not a top 5 finish, but he crossed that line on the pit box, never backed up, and got a penalty for pitting outside the box. Bubba had a rough day. They had an issue with that lug nut. They had to cut it off. Fox didn't really show much of that, but he was like 6 laps down, I think, at the end there. And Spire had a decent run. We talked about that. And here on the Bump Around podcast, every podcast loves to talk about the winner, but we also love to highlight the loser, and that was one, Chris Buescher. He lost a wheel early, ended his day. We'll definitely see a penalty for that one because the tire came off on track. Probably announce it on Wednesday. And I had him and Bell in my fucking lineup. I replaced Ryan Blaney at the last minute with Chris Buescher because for some reason Blaney's practice wasn't calling me. I'm like, you know what? Buescher was a little bit better in practice. Fucking shot myself in the foot on that one. But that's pretty much the race weekend. Fellas, we are heading to...
Marty, you gotta come back with me.
Where?
The next NASCAR Cup race. It's the weekend preview.
And we're heading to Phoenix Saturday, Xfinity on track 4:30 for the call811.com. Every dig, every time, 200 on FS1. If you're doing any type of digging for construction, make sure you call 811 so you don't get electrocuted. And Sunday Cup on track. Sunday Cup on track 3:30 for the Shriners Children's 500 on Fox. And I forgot to mention it at the top of the show, but the stat man Matt was the big winner also. Because he told you to pick Kyle Larson last week. He got you 60 points and he won the race. Probably won some people some money. Hopefully you stuck around for the Vegas preview. I know someone commented on YouTube where the Vegas preview was. And if she followed your advice, she was making some money because Kyle Larson was the big winner. Got you 60 points. I picked Joey Logano to win Vegas. He got me 30 points. And Eric, you picked Christopher Bell. He got you 5 points. So you pick first for Phoenix. I pick second. And Matt picks third.
Hey, that was our first of many exactos. Last year, between the three of us, we cleaned up with the exacto predictions.
Yeah,
so
we got like 9 or 10.
Pay attention to us because we kind of know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's not luck when you pick 9 or 10 winners in a season outright.
As a matter of fact, one of us three is going to predict the winner of Phoenix right now.
Will it be Eric?
Eric, is it going to be you?
Who are you picking?
I'll tell you who it is. I think we're seeing a trend. Domination, next gen car, Slick Willie ripped off 6, Larson ripped off. You're going to see runs. We're never going to get to 16. Not so fast, my friend. The beginning of the season is when these guys have an opportunity to get a jump on the field before everyone starts to figure out everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I have a weird hunch that this is going to be a wreck fest at the end of Phoenix. Usually, I think the last 2, well, not the championship, but prior spring races, the restarts at the end tend to get a little wild and crazy and wonky here at Phoenix. I know last year that's how William Byron won. Harvick, I think, dominated that race. And there was a couple late cautions. I think Harrison Burton spun or something like that. And Slick Willie came down, took 2 tires, hopped in front, and next thing the whole race is turned on its head. So I expect another Phoenix like that, where you're going to get a guy middle tier, 14th, 15th, running good, but the guys up front, I think I was off by 1 week. Yeah. I think Chastain is going to have a super fast car. I think Ross Chastain is going to run up front a lot. But I think this is where Ross Chastain, when he knows he has the car to win, he does screw up and takes out some really, really good cars up front.
Ooh.
I'm wearing the throwback for a reason. Eric Jones, Legacy Motor Club. Where do you see him at Phoenix Raceway?
Oh, okay. All right. That's a long shot.
Prediction.
It's a long shot. It's a bold prediction. I like it. I'm gonna. Ooh. So my initial thought was to pick Ross Chastain.
So I have two guys in my mind, and both of them are available still. So I'm excited right now.
Here's the thing about Ross Chastain, though. He didn't perform too well in the spring. Where did he finish 24th in the spring? Ross Chastain's better at night in the desert, the championship race. You know who was great in the spring last year, though? Someone that should have won this week. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the homer pick. I'm going with Tyler Reddick. He's going to go out there. He's going to win his way into the playoffs because now he's pissed off. He's hungry. He's angry. He's hangry, and he's going to win in Phoenix in the desert.
You guys have really painted me into a corner here because on one hand, I had two guys in mind that fell to me in this draft.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you guys both picked homer picks. My homer pick right here, the 9, he hasn't showed it yet.
No.
He hasn't showed it yet. I don't know what his deal is, but he hasn't showed it yet. Eric, I kind of showed my hand when you said when I thought you were going to take Chastain, and I got upset because I thought, God damn it, there goes my guy.
Yeah.
But Chastain was my second pick.
We all were thinking Chastain, though.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
My first pick just won the last race at Phoenix. My first pick is our defending Cup Series champion. My first pick always seems to be there. My first pick is going to be my second exacto of the year. Ryan Blaney wins in Phoenix.
Ryan Blaney came in second last year in this race. Tyler Reddick came in third. Eric Jones.
That's right. That's right. What am I talking about? Blaney didn't win this race last year.
No,
he just won the championship there.
Yeah, William Byron
won the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, but William Byron won in the spring.
All right, you know what? Forget everything I just said. I'm taking Chastain. No. I'm taking Blaney. Blaney's going to win this race.
You're going to regret.
It's interesting that all three of us had Chastain on our minds.
Right. And you want to know what? Chevys have been super strong since the beginning. Chevys were strong yesterday.
3-0.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, too, isn't this where the Denny Chastain feud originated?
Oh, it could have. I don't remember. I'm not exactly sure. No,
it was in the beginning of a season somewhere, and
I know
now
for sure.
Blaney and Chastain, I think Blaney and Chastain were talking some shit.
Yeah,
so if they're going to be running up front all day with Slick, I think that a lot of big guys are going to have little egos going to get in the way this week at Phoenix.
Eric Jones finished in 21st in this race in a bad car.
Ross Chastain, I think this is his best track. I mean, three of the last 4 races, he's gotten a top 5 finish, including the win to end the season last year.
EJ qualified in the top 10 both races here at Phoenix too.
Listen, we're overthinking.
Now give him speed in the Toyotas, qualifies well, and give him that speed. Woo-woo.
I take back my Blaney pick for real this time. I'm taking Chastain.
Take Chastain.
I'm taking Chastain, dude. All three of us had it on our minds.
Yeah.
His stats are there. He what did he just come in? He had a top 5 when he started from the back of the field this past weekend at Vegas.
That's what I'm saying.
Chevys are 3-0 so far. You take the hot hand when you can. I'm taking Ross Chastain to win.
You got to look at Joey Logano from last year, though, dude, right? We're all like, oh, his playbook, Legacy should just run his playbook. Run 15th all day long. Wait for the top 10 to fuck up. Finish P5.
Be a menace.
Yep.
Whatchamacallit? I don't know. We're getting 2 in the...
Chastain's my final answer. I'm taking Ross Chastain.
All right. And we will see. Right now, we're 3 races into the 2023 season. Your playoff picture is William Byron, Daniel Suarez, and Kyle Larson all locked in. Will it be Eric Jones, the dark horse, winning at Phoenix? He is great, a great short track racer.
First race I ever saw him drive at, too, in the 20 car when he filled in for Kenseth.
Will the runner-up of this week, Tyler Reddick, he finished 3rd last year, will he get the win in the desert? Or will Ross Chastain go back-to-back in wins in Phoenix? He won the championship race even though he wasn't in the hunt. Can he get it done? Can our champion Ryan Blaney get it done? Will William Byron win again? We will find out this Sunday on track, 3:30 on Fox for the Shiners Children's 300 or 500, and we'll break it all down for you right here on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. The Bump and Run.
There it is.